Yes, hello everybody. My name is Milos Milovanovic and I'm heading the business at TAUS. Today's presentation will be about TAUS data marketplace and domain classification that will be implemented there. What I'd like to start with is a Gartner research that has been published, I think, beginning of this year, where basically they're estimating that by the end of 2024, 75% of enterprises will actually shift from pilot project to operational AI, and this will drive the increase for the data and the infrastructure by 5 times. They also point out that now is the time to join the AI emerging cycle and become the technology, become the part of this new technology. This is the research made by Gartner, and this is the initial point about the data. So is there a lack of data, and why the data is needed in the first place? So the language data, when I say data, I mean the language data, and most common use case is for machine translation models. So obviously models have 2 parts, algorithm and data, and there can be a training of baseline engine, like most common that Andre mentioned in his presentation, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Systran. They all have baseline engines, and then there is the second part where these baseline engines are actually being customized with the specific domain-specific language data to meet actually the criteria to translate some in-domain documents and projects. So baseline engine customization is commonly performed by these big technology companies, while customization can basically be performed by almost anybody if they have obviously good data to customize the empty engines. So where can you get the data? Obviously from translation memories. This is of course a first way to go. And then online there is a lot of free repositories available. There is a possibility to get web crawl data. However, there are some limitations here, like legal limitation, technical limitation, and data-wise, there is limitation that data is not well aligned. So there is a lot of mistranslations that can jeopardize, of course, the output of empty engines. And the last but not least is TAUS data marketplace, where you can actually come and acquire the language data to customize your engines. So is there a lack of data? Yeah, so we see a lack of data in low resource languages. So these languages are actually spoken by wide communities of people. I have a few examples here. So it's mostly Asian languages or languages in Africa that are poorly available online. So there is not enough online content for these languages, and we see a scarcity in these languages. Then there is a lack of data in the language pairs that don't involve English. So for example, Russian to Chinese, or Russian to Arabic, or Chinese to Arabic. And there is a lack of data in scarce domains like, for example, cosmetics, and for example, gender neutral data as well. So we see these requests coming in, and we are not able to, let's say, deliver this data set because there is simply not enough of this data available online. So what are the risks of low quality data? Obviously, if poor quality data is used, the empty output will not be really good, and it would need a lot of post editing. So the translation process will not be efficient. And the most problematic data set actually contains mistranslations, obviously when target content is mistranslated. And if you're looking to customize, let's say, medical domain, you can't use legal data for it. So out of the domain data is very problematic for empty engines customizations. So on the other side, high quality data can bring strong improvements to the empty output. And here we have actual case studies performed by 2 of our partners that use our medical domain data to customize the engines. So the numbers in blue on the left side are actually English to French, Spanish, German, Italian, Chinese, and Russian, and the other way around. So the improvements in blue scores was around 80%, and these are actual blue score points from English to target language and from well, here the source is actually the different language, to English, the other way around, right? And the other partner actually used the same data, but they used on slightly different language pairs. And you can see again the high increase in blue scores, and they also use some additional measures to measure the improvement of their MT output. So yeah, just a bit of intro on TAUS. We see ourselves as a one-stop shop for language data and provider of services coming from our NLP expertise. So we want to be a place where everybody who is looking to train the MT engines and customize them, where they will come and say, hey, can you help us with the data to customize our engines? How do we want to become that? Is through the technology, through the data marketplace on one side. Data marketplace is a EU co-finance project that we started, well, now it's 2 years ago. We delivered the first version in the end of last year, and we are now upgrading the features. So it's a platform for language acquisition and language data acquisition and monetization that has built in specific services that bring data to the high quality level. The other part is through HLP platform, where we actually produce the data. And this is mostly for low resource languages, where we produce the data to train the baseline engines through in-house platform and crowd working communities. Next to these, we offer a few services. They're relevant because some of them are actually integrated into the data marketplace. So the preparation part, where the data cleaning is performed once the data is uploaded into the data marketplace. There are additional filtering possibilities. So we have 6 or 7 automated filters, and we will also apply sentence embeddings very soon. Then we are also integrating anonymization. So this took us a bit of time. So now it's been almost 1 year because we tested different models, the performance, but this will be integral part of the data marketplace as well in the next month or two. And yeah, these two services are actually integrated into the data marketplace. Two main objectives of the data marketplace are to fill in the gap for low resource language data, so low resource languages and low resource domains. And the second one is to become a go-to place for high quality language data to train the MT engines. So what does this mean actually is that once the data is downloaded, you don't need much effort or zero effort is needed to actually take this data and just put it in the engine. So there is no additional cleaning, domain classification, or anything similar. So data is ready to be pushed through the engine and to customize the engine. So here is the link to the data marketplace. You can check it out yourself. And yeah, just to bring a bit more information. So the data owner can upload the data. Then there is a default cleaning of the data that is performed algorithmically. The bagged segments are actually displayed. The data owner can see the bad segments and see what segments have been removed, the ones that are poor quality. And there is an option of anonymization. So this anonymization will come in a month or two. They will have a profile to market the data and the data sets that have been offered, obviously to get some revenue for the data that is being offered in the data marketplace. On the right side, we have anybody who is interested to actually acquire high language data to customize the MT engines and yeah, to use the data for any other AI application. And in the middle is the data marketplace with its features: data cleaning, anonymization, cluster search. I will give a bit more information on this one in the coming slides, and the possibility of micropayments. Micropayments is also related to the cluster search, so I will just get back to this a bit later. Currently, we have 25 billion words in 600 language pairs, a lot of data is being imported from our historical repositories, and we get new data offerings on, let's say weekly basis. So how the data marketplace workflow looks like. Eventually, the data owner can come and upload the data to the platform. So we accept currently bilingual data in TMX format. The first step is quality. So platform run automated quality checks and cleanup of the data. Then there will be a possibility for optional anonymization of the data. Then the data owner is actually defining the price. So we have some algorithmic suggestion of the price depending on the scarcity of the language pair and scarcity of the domain. But in the end, the data owner can define the price per word, and then this reflects on the whole data set. Data again then gets published, and it's published in the platform, so anybody can search it in the exploration phase. So somebody who's looking, let me just have a bit of water, sorry. So in the exploration phase, there is a possibility for simple search where potential data buyers can come and look for the data on the documents level, on the TMX level. And this is quite straightforward. What is important as a feature is this cluster search. So this is this just has to be published on our site, so the feature is ready. It will be updated in the data marketplace anytime soon. We've been working on this also for almost a year, on this feature and on anonymization. So basically, data buyer can come, upload the sample either in English or bilingual. So the algorithm will automatically will run a cluster search and use the technology to collect the similar segments in all the available repository for that specific language pair. What this means for the customer is that they will get domain specific data set, and the most common use cases are when this is actually used, when there is not enough data in a specific language pair, when they're looking to customize the engine, and where they don't have any data at all in a specific language pair, because customer can upload English sample, and then the algorithms will return the bilingual data set as an output. What's really important here is that the sample is quite domain specific, because if the sample is not domain specific, this is not really good for domain customization. The noise will be noticed in the output data set as well. Obviously, buyer can then select how much data they want to buy, like 50%, 75, 100%. They can pay and download the data and rate and review the data. Basically, this was the workflow, and this is the new feature that we're planning to integrate, and it's called domain classification. So basically, domain classification means that every segment will be tagged with a specific tag. That will be a domain tag. So initially, we plan to have around 20 domain tags. So every segment that is uploaded in the data marketplace will have a specific domain tag. And initially we will have 20 of them, and then we are going to actually go more granular with more additional subdomains, right? So this is mostly based on the sentence embedding technology and domain classifier technology. So what does sentence embeddings mean? This means that every sentence is put into a vector space, and there is a value between 0 and 1. So this is used to actually detect mistranslations. So the value closer to 0 is most likely bad translation, and also to cluster the sentences around a specific value. So basically, sentences with similar value can be classified as a specific domain. So how the workflow in the data marketplace will work? Once the data is uploaded, we will run the sentence embeddings. So bad segments will be removed, but the good segments will have a specific number. Then we're going to run it through the domain classifier, where each segment is going to have a specific domain tag. Basically, every segment will be tagged. We are going to offer a review to the data owner, and basically they will have a possibility to review which segment has a specific tag, right? And basically then this will be added into the data library. What this means is that anybody who is looking to acquire the language data, they don't have to have a sample of domain-specific data to upload and then get an output data set. They can just come and browse through a specific domain and acquire the data with the specific domain tags. So initially there is 20 of them, but in the future we will have more subdomains. So this is the new feature that we are working on, and I guess this year or beginning of next year it will be ready. So basically, who are the biggest seller in the data marketplace? Obviously TAUS. We are importing most of our data into the data marketplace, but we also have around 40 different data sellers in the data marketplace, so different enterprises, and recently we also have individuals, some of the LSPs, but also we have companies who are, let's say, big dictionary providers. So they're looking for to monetize their historical dictionaries, but not in terms of word, but every word, let's say, it has a description. So we have these descriptions collected and actually classified per some domains or language pairs. And this is also there in the data marketplace. And we also have some news publishers who are publishing in different languages, who are publishing content and translating into different languages, also joining the data marketplace. And how does this work with TransLink? How we can benefit, how customers of TransLink can benefit from the data. So anybody who is looking to actually customize the models can submit the customization request to TransLink, because we see that a lot of customizations is actually delegated to the translation agencies, and especially the ones like TransLink who have advanced technology and the knowledge to do this type of work. So basically, once this request is delegated to the TransLink, if there is not enough data in the translation memory for the engine customization, TransLink can pull the sample or just make a request with a few segments to TAUS, where we can actually use this sample or get this request to run a cluster search and deliver in domain language data that is then delivered to TransLink, and TransLink can then use this data to actually customize the engine. So basically, this is the workflow, how this will work in general, and how customers can benefit from this workflow. And to conclude, this slide is mostly for the potential data owners who are looking to monetize the language data. There is a lot of noise about the data ownership. So basically, the value in the data is in the segments. So we are actually promoting the value of these segments that are super generic, that cannot be considered copyrightable. So the segments like please type in your password, or this website uses cookies, this cannot be considered as copyrightable. So we actually see the value in these segments, and this is something that should be, let's say, available for technology to grow and for machine translation engines training. We did the white paper with Baker McKenzie last year, and you can download it from this link here. And if you're interested to understand a bit more about data marketplace terms of use, you can check this link. And with that, I'd like to thank you, and let's go to the questions. It's been 20 minutes now.
Yeah, Milos, thank you. Yeah, we've been all in time, on time, whatever. So the first question will be from me. So when are you going to add multiple language payer data into your marketplace? Because we were forced to split. We have a 5 language payer data all in one, and we were forced to split them in 5 different directions to be able to have them on the
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't know. I remember your request. We see this often, especially. So it was with you with this multilingual TMX file, but also with this recent dictionary publishers who have, let's say, dictionary in 30 languages, and then this will be one huge TMX file with 30 languages inside. They also had to do the split. So the priority with our development team was with anonymization and with integration of cluster search into the data marketplace. So we are aware of this problem. Thank you for pointing it out. But we just don't have resources to deliver this immediately, right? So we have some, let's say, milestones that we have to deliver in according to the EU project, because this project has been co-financed by the EU. So I think all the other features will be delivered once this is done.
Yeah, well, we are really happy partnering with such a great enterprise as TAUS. And I'm just interested, what do you see your platform? What do you see your platform like? What will it look like, say, in 3 or 5 years? So, what is the strategic growth prediction?
Yeah, well, maybe I can do a bit of sneak and peek, right? If that's the word. So we see that acquisition of language data can be quite costly, and not many companies can acquire it. So obviously, it's like tens of thousands of euros for some scarce data, and a little bit less for less scarce data. So what we are thinking is to kind of integrate data marketplace directly into the empty provider model, where customers will not have access to the data, but they will get the access to actually to the output, or they will get the access to license to train one model. So this is, let's say, reducing the price, and it will be more affordable for other clients to use this data. This will be mostly done for the data that is managed by us for our data, and we're still scoping how this will look like. But I think we will go in this direction to make data available for almost anybody to use it, and affordable for everybody.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, because, well, some of our partners in MT do the same. They offer you make an engine and then sell it, and so that the buyer will have the access to the engine, but not to the corporate. So that's
exactly. So we plan to partner most likely with some of your active buyers as well, because these are well known.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a question, actually, it's in English now. Hi Miloš, glad to see you. Want to ask you what metrics or whatever you use today to measure the quality of data within the workflow.
Well, yeah. So basically, measuring the data quality, we nowadays we actually rely on sentence embeddings, because we don't really want to have, let's say, human intervention in checking the data, because everything is going towards AI. So adding human in the loop will increase the expenses. So basically now we mostly rely on the technology. We have our internal cleaning steps and cleaning methods to determine, like, first we do the tokenization, then we check the language, we check the length of the sentences to see if there is mismatch. So there's 6 or 7 of these steps, and then we add sentence embeddings as a final one to actually have to understand if the data, if the translation is good quality or bad quality. So we rely on the technology. I hope this answered the question.
Yeah, I hope too. Just waiting for feedback. Well, I think it's done. Well, Milos, thank you again for participating in our event. Yeah, I hope it's been very useful for our participants, and hopefully seeing you on our next events, which will of course happen. And I think we will see a huge, fantastic growth of your platform, and your plans will come true.
Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure being here. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you very much.